Senior economist with the Mackinac Center for Public Policy, which happens to be one of the largest think tank of its kind in any state that's outside of Washington, D.C., and we're very lucky to have the Mackinac Center here. David Littmann received his MA degree in economics from the University of Michigan in 1967. He holds an SM degree in economics from MIT and a BA degree in economics from Antioch College, with a year of study as an exam student at the London School of Economics and Political Science. He retired from Comerica Bank in 2005 as a senior vice president and chief economist after a 35-year career directing Comerica's economic department and research library. Mr. Littmann, in 2003, received the Lawrence Klein Award for Blue Chip Forecast Accuracy. This is one of the most prestigious and long-standing awards in the profession. He recognized the best four-year economic forecast in the nation. Also in 2004, he was honored by the Michigan Chamber of Commerce for distinguished service and leadership. His research articles on the causes of inflation were published in Business Economics, the professional journal of the National Association of Business Economists. He continues to be published widely in Wall Street Journal, the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, Detroit Business Magazine. You've heard him interviewed many times on WJR by Paul W. Smith. His contributions to the economic profession and to the policy are now archived in the Bentley Historical Library collection at the University of Michigan. Married for 43 years, he has 3 children, 6 grandchildren, resides near Holly, Michigan. In 2008, now this thing kind of scares me about David, the American Association of Handwriting Analysis certified Mr. Littmann as a professional graphologist. I made sure I wasn't writing anything down as I was sitting next to him because I think, oh yeah, I can see this guy sitting up there with a rifle in the watchtower. Oh my God. I didn't want to take that chance. I first met David Littmann several years ago when I was chief of staff for Jack Brandenburg, and Jack said, Ken, we've got to meet this man, we've got to pick his brain. I said, I want you to make an appointment, go down there and meet him. So I went to his office at Comerica Bank. I'm sitting there as the secretary ushers me, and I'm sitting there waiting for him. And I knew that when you take a look around and all the plaques and all the awards and everything, it says, you know you're in the presence of a real heavyweight. Now, I'm not sort of a guy who intimidates very easily, but, you know, this is pretty heavy stuff. So I'm sitting there. As soon as David walks in, I says, Dr. Littmann, pleasure meeting you. He looks at me, he laughs. He says, no, Ken. It's David. Very unassuming man. In fact, last summer, I was going out to a Tea Party rally in the Birmingham area, and there was David Littmann with a pair of shorts and a T-shirt on. He's got a handmade sign. He's with everybody else. I says, wow. David Littmann is one of us. And this is a moment that I've been waiting for ever since I joined MEDEFCO, to have the honor of introducing a friend and a mentor, not just to myself, but to everybody who loves freedom and appreciates the genius of the free market economy. Ladies and gentlemen, David Littmann.
Thank you so very much, Ken and Ed. Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful turnout this evening. I'm very honored and greatly appreciate being with you. This being the first Wednesday of spring and following a delightful day and dinner, the last thing you need to hear are the words of a sober economist. So I guess the least I can do is deliver only the good news. Oh, okay. We'll move on. Now, folks, it may seem that way, but wait. Actually, as we near the end of this first quarter of the year, amidst the doom and gloom of the latest socialist initiatives from Lansing and from Washington, I believe there are some tangible causes for optimism, certainly more than would be apparent from the mainstream media reports. Mind you, the good news deals not with the past forces. You can't look retrospectively at this point because they're probably cresting, but with the forces of meaningful reform and repudiation, which are now firmly on the ascendancy. You folks are part of that force. We are part of that force that will demand political accountability and will exact punishment of those who violate their oaths of office to defend the U.S. Constitution. We also belong to that noble group of Americans who are increasingly heeding the wisdom of Ben Franklin and the Founding Fathers when they advocated, quote, eternal vigilance on the part of citizens as the only means for safeguarding both the Constitution and, of course, our Republic of Free People. Simon Bolivar said and encouraged the same engagement of the citizenry in our neighbors to the south 2 centuries ago, saying, "It takes more strength to maintain freedom than to support the weight of tyranny." How well we know that today. This is not just rhetoric or wishful thinking, folks, it's reality. Beyond the recent political victories representing disgust and hostility toward the socialist agendas that were overwhelmingly impoverishing the states of Virginia, New Jersey, Massachusetts, you finally have a growing focus on the kinds of reform required to regain economic and financial respectability. You take a look at Governor Chris Christie's challenge to New Jersey state spending. His proposed 15% across the board spending reduction as a means of bringing some fiscal discipline, balance, and sanity to the public sector. More is on the way. And by the way, those proposals also went straight to the core on the pensions as well. This kind of thinking strikes at the root. Public spending is out of control. We know that. State and federal spending is today crowding out the private sector, just like a virulent stage of cancer. Government is killing the incentives, killing the saving, killing the investment, killing private sector employment, and replacing it with what? With government officials who can only redistribute, at this point, a dwindling wealth that from the creative, innovative, risk-taking, competitive private sector that generates it. You know the numbers. You combine the unfunded liabilities of debt in the Social Security system, Medicare, Medicaid, governmental pensions, health care programs, student loans, not to mention the latest unpaid health care promises and entitlements. And the total comes to well over $100 trillion by the year 2080. And that's less than an average lifetime away. So those have been the trends, and we're waking up. Now we understand that without sustained real GDP growth of at least 3%, that's after inflation, and sustained, not just 3%. If you don't have that economically, there's no way to lower the nation's unemployment rate or to achieve the revenues required to diffuse these debts and the deficits and the debt time bombs, or even the interest that is today accruing on these debts. Truly, it's intergenerational theft. In fact, the current U.S. unemployment rate, as you know, exceeds 9%. Here in Michigan, exceeds 14%. But as we well know, for the U.S., the key underemployment rate, and if you look at the Depression era, you measure apples to apples in the same way. When you include the discouraged workers, those who have dropped out of the workforce, those who are employed part-time seeking full-time employment, and those who are at jobs but far below their training and skills, the true measure of unemployment in the nation now is 20%, in Michigan, 30%.